Major Namgin Tadang Yambi Sampian Tamji Don Lana Meva Yang Dawar Zoe Sanji Gombarumbo Jenjang Tobarja Yambat. Teacher the Tambi Chundini Sante Turian the Yamso Lang Yambi Gulong Kunchoji Rumbaso Leguar Saratapte Sambarek.
Please listen by thinking, adjusting your conduct and your motivation, thinking that for the sake of all the mother sentient beings who are equal to the extent of space, I must by any means achieve the precious state of perfect, peerless, complete enlightenment. And for that reason, I'm going to listen to the Holy Dharma teachings and practice their meaning accordingly.
Kan sembar chabi chunes Talama Sachawa Chimbo Gunga Ningbo las then Yesun Jambi Yangi Musan Nabi Mengak Cheparje Hemba Hedar Hivigeta Damgande Yesun Chaka Jansen Jig and then derivating the mar and chair race. In the end, the Kang Sembarcha we choose in the embrace.
Jason Trappa gets and Rala.
Did
because the Jabba Zonkin Rebella.
On the Rebella.
So the Holy Dharma teachings that we're going to be listening to an explanation of is something called parting from the four attachments. And this is a teaching which was given by Manjushri to the great Kagyu Lama Gunga Nimbo. Sorry, not Kagyu, Sakya. This great Sakya Lama, Gunga Nimbo. And the commentary to this, which was by Jitun Drapa Gelsen.
Then Sachawa Chimbos and the Lojuta Conda was Tessas Don Chancellor was yours and Dito and Tessas Marcuna.
So the sort of background story to this teaching in the Sakya tradition is really quite extraordinary, so I thought I would mention a little bit about that.
Sacha data there is a Chuju data to same Donjuk Tony Martin Zankayor Serva. Getan Sacha the Rabjon to the Yoda Yorid Sacha Kuma Seatim Mujuk Tony Mar to the young Yoris. In the sort of the line of the Sakya tradition, generally it is it's actually passed down. It's hereditary. Like for example, in the case of the Sakya Goma or Sakya Chizin, that's an hereditary title. They do have their monastics, their monks and nuns in the Sakya tradition, but generally speaking, it is hereditary. Dandi, would you Toma, then the Osaka Ha, Dandi don't you then the high don't you use yours.
In fact, the origin of that line, which, as I said, is passed. So it's something which is hereditary. So the origin was a divine being.
Get it done. That's something.
And specifically, this was a god of the four levels of the form realm. The fourth one. So the first one, which is the the first concentration.
God. Namla Chisum Zidan, La, Dene, Girings, and the Urings, you say, as the Burnson, 아니 메율라 총 아니 미기 범모당 데르바 총니스 전에 디 기바테 말 총과 인송그 요리로
디 카스테트 십사 코마선다
단
삼든 당보라
당고다 용당데 오살
알레 디 디나도
was
디 삼든 당본 나올레 카시 요로 디 워세싱디
오살사
슬슬
어디 다디 남라 체숨세네데 체숨모티 번자숨 그다 맹데 끼링세 다도 유튜브만 이거 경네 아니 유링스 유세센스다 숨총 데다 미 다범모던 데바 총네스 데네마 사치게 동주트 총과인스 요르스
빙가 숨기 나올레 데 치키로라
다든
so the of the different levels within that first concentration, or the first dhyana, first concentration of the form realms, one of them is called the Versel, so clear light. That's the name of one of the levels. And there were 3 brothers, and one of those came into the human world, and became associated with a human being.
데네 말이 온네데네 대유지바달라 야방지사스 종바르스 야방지사단 디유바달라
야방기
단티 맹리세로 야세두자 자르요산로 방세두 자망위서로 야동 방크 삼라 기비 염세진문로 야방지사스 종
So the name of that line, starting in that way, starting from that point, was known as a Yapanki. So that's the name of it, and it seems to be that because of the association with the border line between a place called Ya and Pang. So it was called a Yapanki.
어때 나때디 메율 숨보 요비게 해버서와 숨보 자링 탁미세아세 당하는 투과자 되니 야방지 숨보 자링 탁미세아세 다 디기 총마 대는 거나게 제메랑네세 어느 더라 부증 통화데 콤바르지 세겨서와
공바키 공파르키
콩세 아주 들어서다 만찬받지 두과혀버려 콩송세거서 다니 아니 두과제비 파살라라 다 되게 선보트세 되게 아니 총마다다 trova인 버려와 달라 프로젝트 받은 콤바르지 세다가 임버스
So in that place there was some fighting that took place between the people of that area and the symbol, what do they call it? Raksha, some Rakshas, like non-human beings, Rakshas. And so in the fighting that took place, the king was the Gyabudi. So anyway, the Gyabudi saison. Yeah. So Gyopo Pasebra. Oh yeah. So these Rakshas or cannibals, simple anyway, Rakshas, they killed the king, and then this god, form realm god, took his widow as his wife, and then they had a child who was called Kombakye. So this is a name that was derived from the fact that it's sort of like the name of the child includes like a little bit of an account of how he came about, which was through this like strife or fighting that took place between humans and the Rakshas, and how he was the son of the widow of that king that was killed. So anyway, this Kongparki Rawa. Yeah, so I made a mistake there. The father of this person wasn't a king, but he was killed by the Rakshas.
That's it. Tene dita jubate kombarchi jubate la tene konji dongju se. Sache dongju timelan konji dongju sigor kon sigoris.
And so that lineage, that line that came down from that point was referred to as the Kun lineage, or the Kun family lineage.
No. Tene jina dasan da osarkan haligetene tamayur yung modang terwa chung se dita sakawa ngema sa lo jureng injerwas.
No.
Kanta ti jubat mar yung nes. Then pug tirab dumbi na pug jabo chosong deseng tu sola. Then kon lui on was as duk serwa.
Louis Wombo.
Tab to do kon lui on was yate. And then kanta dak cheta pola pene. And pome. Da rab de jo. Gen dru on tin tang wo dun du bare se ti re chas kon. Da pome to Genon dum da yongsa mari dayak tontang la tomar medun genon de imbars ti na chekta ten kon lu yang wo sia tere chaksro
Louis Wombo, no. So that is, that's like a history that goes back a long way. That would have been a long time ago. That this account of or this situation where that form realm God from the earth cell clear light level coming down and having a child with a human being, and how it all started from there. So then in Tibet, if we look at the way this figures in the history of Tibet, then at the time of Disong Detsen, there was
Durab
Dumbara. Oh, this is 7th century. That was 7th century Tibet. When the Dharma king Disong Detsen was ruling, so there we have the figure of Louis Wombo. So at that time, the great abbot Shantarakshita was in Tibet. He'd come over from India to Tibet, and he wanted to check whether the Tibetans were suited to the monastic life. So he chose 7 Tibetans to become monks, and one of them was this Louis Wombo.
Rangi Jambo, Sonam Chimbo. Then the Hartak Chong Barisro.
Dungalo.
Don't you tell her? Not to be he and Jambo. Only Sonam Chimbo. Ning top on them by Hartak Chong
all 7 of these were known for being of a very affectionate nature, having a great deal of merit, and also being very courageous, very brave.
That then to rap Jubi Nang injuries, Juba Pachi took Chig Nang Isari. Julatane Conchok Jar works and Chong to Zero.
Conchok Yabo.
Oh, don't you later.
And then later in I think it was the 11th century, 10th or 11th century, another person from that line was born, who was called Kunjok Gyalpo. It might actually even have been in the 12th century. No. In any case, it was at the time of the Mongolian Genghis Khan.
Concho dear Wogan, Saka Boyosa Jilla Gomba. Ani Nema Chuluk the Ning my body, Tene Chuluk the party, Sanman was good on Tende Chong House.
Gombadi Dambo.
고추 잘보세야티 사가로 요사직라든 곰바답이
Gombadabons.
졸룩생 에만 닝마 있어라 봐.
Kurangi Joluk.
어디 무주랑 저바티
Oh, let's.
다 되네 살만 존독서로
No. So, at that, what he did was he founded a monastery at a place where the earth was like pale or whitish colored, and that line had previously, of course, it had been the ancient tradition or the Nyingma tradition, and now it changed to the new translation or the new tradition.
달라 때니 그때는 사차 곰바들 사차 곰바스다. 아니 디 추줄라다 사차세네 그 아니 총과이 말했어요.
So you see, in Tibetan, the name for like white or pale earth would be Sakya, and so the monastery that he built there was called the Sakya monastery, and that tradition became known as the Sakya tradition.
대대위당 광고조 잘 못할라더니 다 저상 세카시 요로 강달 아니 단다 사체 군가 인고스야 단 공통과 인발스로.
And he had several sons, of which one was called Sakya Kunganingpo. No. Chinese Drupa. No. And the Tibetans believe that this Sakya Kunganingpo was an emanation of Chenrezi.
콩테네 잠비 양크테네 건삼다 경네단 잠비 양 드럽네 단 삼다바 두유인 말했어 봐라 다바 두.
Now he went into retreat to practice Manjushri, and he actually stayed in retreat in that retreat for 6 months.
네네. 어때니 휴기가 두다 뒤서지라더니 베네 다 어디 보고 된데서 나왔더니 름보지기 티 등도 더니 예선잠비양 그도 마스터지 된데 전체가 차잔제되겠어 다 대이당 용라용 장주선바 이용해 다 된데서 무엇을 현지와 임발했다.
And at one time, he saw Manjushri. Actually saw, not just imagining or something, or he actually saw Manjushri in the midst of a mass of light, seated on a throne made of various precious substances, and this Manjushri was like a reddish, yellowish color, and he was in his hand gestures were the hand gestures of teaching the Dharma, and he was seated there with a bodhisattva on each of his right and left side. And so the main one of those three, the Manjushri seated in the middle, he said, if you are attached to this life, it's not Dharma. Or like it says so if you cling to this life, you are not a practitioner, so it's not Dharma. You're not a Dharma practitioner. If you cling to the three realms, that is it is not renunciation, or that's not renunciation. And if you're attached to your own welfare, then there is no bodhicitta. And if grasping occurs, then it's not the view. To summarize what he was saying, if you're a pure Dharma practitioner, or to be a pure Dharma practitioner, you need to be free of these four. If you go under the control of these four, then what you're doing is you're not practicing pure Dharma. And so, in this way, the Kunga Nyingpo gained a very an exceptional certainty about the way in which the path is to be practiced, because he understood through this that the entire practice of the perfection, the vehicle of the perfections, has to be done free of these four. Actually, this is exactly the same as Jirumshi Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching, which is called the three principal paths, or three principal aspects of the path. There is a commentary to this by Sakya Pandita. Nevertheless, the commentary that I'm going to be basing my explanation on is the commentary by Jizun Dakpa Gelsen that I mentioned before. It's a very good. It's like, you could say it's the best commentary. It's very good, and it's not it's not a long commentary, and it's quite easy to understand. So the commentary, what it says right at the beginning is, I go for refuge from the depths of my heart to the kind Guru, and to the mind-sealed deity of compassion. Garden Chengi Lama Dang Tuji Chengi Yidam, yes, to the compassionate deity, and then that the verse goes on to say, please bless me. So when they tend on the Lama to Sajan Kungani watches. Tuji Chengi Yidam Chen is a case. The Lanin Taban is the big jobs and rogins. He said you can love cheese. Sajan Kungani. when it says the kind guru, when he says the kind guru, who he's talking about is the great Sakya Lama Gunga Nyingpo, Sachin Gunga Nyingpo. And when he says the compassionate deity, the compassionate mind-sealed deity, he's talking about Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion. So he's saying, I go for refuge to you, please bless my mind.
That's it. That's it. Oten chojochi. That's it. Chumunji joba goju me songturoba.
And then he goes on to say, Chumunji joba goju me. We don't need practice which is not Dharma practice. Or we should not lead our lives in a way which isn't a Dharma way of life.
단 천대지 아니 개비신이 당체 담각 제발진 또 전에 갑라다 전에 그래서 추마임이 줘봐다 제비 고와 개요 말라 점생에 개요 말이 송이 말이서
Yeah, so now what he's saying is, now that we have this these leisures and endowments which are so difficult to get, and now that we've met with the Holy Dharma teachings which are so difficult to meet with, and we have we've met with a qualified, fully qualified spiritual friend or guru, which is also so difficult to come across, and we've come into contact with these precious instructions, which are also so difficult to find, to lead our lives without Dharma is something which is it's something that we don't need, and also there's just no reason to lead your way in that life, your life in that way.
세르다 초면지 줘봐서 간레스가 세교르세나 안에 센디 되절라 차네스 안에 단도야리 녀장야리 윤노롱쇼소야리 다 근데 제네가 갈리 잠네 그때네 뭐제 튀리나라 저 드네서 뭐제 종로 요래 봤어 다트베 도메리 송교를 봐.
What it means, what he means when he says, leading your life or following a way of life without Dharma is spending your time trying to destroy your enemies, trying to take care of your friends, trying to amass wealth and possessions, and working so hard to do all that, because then, so your life gets used up with that, and it's completely meaningless.
No, the need to can senator. And Jibin Tama, Chiva, Senator, Jivas Lani Zonted, and Hijutak Nibat, Tachobaris, and a Kadu here, Mangibaris. Then Chibin Nicholson, and Gaby Chunyam Solani, something like Gaby Pakchak Yakuyana, T. Jevachimala Pengu Yovaris. Oh, 10 day men attending Tanda Sendala Kali Japani, Yuk Devata, Sama, and the Tondak Meva, Jensemeva, or the Chango Yori is on him.
The thing is that once we've been born, then eventually we have to die. When we're going to die is completely uncertain. So what we need to do in the meantime is to practice Dharma, to engage in wholesome, virtuous actions which create good imprints, so that we have those to take along with us, rather than to spend our time and all of our efforts just in the affairs of this life, accumulating wealth and so on, because then what you're left with is something which serves no purpose at all. And the advice, therefore, is to use one's time for practicing Dharma, for doing something good and wholesome until the day that we die, until the time we die. So as for how to practice, so when he says a life led without Dharma is something that we don't need and there's no reason for it. So the Dharma that he's talking about is the Dharma that the Buddha taught, which we can find in the translations of the Buddha's own word, and also the translations of the commentaries by the great Indian masters, and how to practice the teachings that we find in those teachings of the Buddha and the commentaries by the Indian masters is by being parted from, being separate from the four attachments. So in brief then, we need to practice the Dharma by making sure that we everything that we do is free from these four attachments. And if we proceed in that way, then we will have, as they say, a situation where our Dharma practice is really Dharma practice. So then in the next verse, having so the second verse is about what I've just been explaining. Then he ends that verse by saying, like you should. So please listen to this. So what he's doing there is he's this is the form in which his promise to compose the text takes. So he's saying, I'm going to compose this teaching. So, here the word that's been used in the translation is clinging. Otherwise, they usually say attachment. The thing is, the title says the four attachments, right? So really it should be the four clingings, because they're using the word clinging. So anyway, to cling to, to be attached to. So the what the four attachments are, or what the four clingings are, number one is the attachment to this life. The second one is attachment to the cyclic existence. The third one is being attached to your own welfare because of caring so much for yourself. And then the fourth one is being attached to like a self-existence. Yeah, self-existence.
Okay. Today, the Hemba would modern Nakion Korea said that Tendala Hena Chuamas. Then tend the Hendenas, Ane Kanganyamson, what the Gangolo, Tendi Ched Sonnet, and Chunam the Regamari.
Now, what would be the fault? What would go wrong if you aren't free of these four attachments? So, firstly, if you're not free of attachment to this life, then all of the practices that you do, all of the spiritual or Dharma practices that you do, they wouldn't be pure. They wouldn't be a pure spiritual practice or pure Dharma.
Roma Cyclic that was done by Yanayam, the Tendala, Chigne Meba, the Wokipo Yonga, Javalam do Yonga, that 10 days a kid being the 10 days a kid we call yourself.
So, for example, if you were to recite the praises to Tara in order to be healthy, free of illness in this life, to be happy in this life, then that wouldn't be a pure practice.
Then, Tindi Intelligent. Then Corvala Hena, Jonkerson, Corvala Hena, and Yomosid, Corbit Dunger, Corbit Devala, Charlton Hena, then Corva Dunger Giran Tongumaris, then telling even Jondo Yellow Jegamaris.
And if you're attached to psychic existence, then what harm would that do? Well, if you're attached to to psychic existence, then you wouldn't see the suffering nature of psychic existence, and therefore you wouldn't have renunciation for it, and you wouldn't want to be free of it.
That then, no tenders in Atenta, Tarva Tobias, Tomdo Loyang Yungumara, Tobia Yungumara.
You wouldn't want to achieve liberation, and you wouldn't achieve liberation.
That then, Dardon la Hena Jonkers, Dardon la Hena, Johnson said it. Ranky we could Tondak Drup dinner, Yankee Varzon, die. Yankee Chedu, Sanji, you combat Drup Seata, you don't have second mayor of us.
If you're attached to your own welfare, then there will be no bodhicitta, it says. Is that what it says? If you cling to this to self-interest, you're not bodhisattva. So, same thing really. You won't have bodhicitta, you won't be a bodhisattva. What this means is, if you're attached just to your own personal welfare, then you won't care about others. And then, if you don't care about others, how would you possibly achieve enlightenment?
And Dardon, Rank. We told some of them to be a letter. Yingeta, Changi, Sam, Seata, to watch him with Lamkia, and get us your Marcel.
A person who is only concerned with themselves, if they have that kind of attachment, who's only attached to their own happiness, then they're not going to have loving kindness. They won't generate the mind of compassion, and nor will they be able to get bodhicitta, the awakening mind.
Then the Bachon at that Tabaman say and it. You count on what and then but Trabazon Krabada, counter any, wrong Nitraba zone, tea on the son. Then the Tava, young Tabi Tava say at the Togumari somewhere.
And then if grasping arises, it's not the view, then what that means is as long as you're grasping at things existing from their own side inherently, then you won't be able to find the ultimate view, realizing the ultimate nature of reality.
Yang tak tawa sedida tongwanya tongwi tawa teris. The tone kumbar maginas. Dungar tamji tsawa dangz mari wasiat sebapang to yomars.
If you don't have what is called the yandabedawa, the correct or perfect view, which means the realization of emptiness, if you don't have the realization of emptiness, then in no way will you be able to completely uproot the ego-grasping ignorance, which is the root and foundation of all of cyclic existence. So you can see that if you want your practice to be pure, then it has to be free of these four attachments. Now, we're not going to be able to free ourselves from these four types of clinging or attachment immediately. The habit is far too strong, so we won't be able to do that. So what we need to do is gradually train ourselves in them. Gradually get trained in them. So then the author goes on to speak about how to be free of the first kind of attachment to this life. So what he says is that the way we actually need to lead our lives, to lead our lives right up to the point where it's all over, is by practicing studying, reflection, and meditation on the basis of pure morality. When he talks about morality, the point he's making is that what we need as a foundation for our practice, whatever it might be, is to receive and to receive any of the different ethical restraints that we find in the pratimoksha, or the individual liberation. So we need to receive one of those and keep that as the foundation for everything else that we do.
That Ramban Tokin do what the Gelon race, Tiola gets to yourself. That might you to the Ganye, Reserva, Tindu, Chimbacho Yamnaking as any Ganye Dombadla. They get like with Tony, then Yamsonary is on.
if you're able to, then like the highest level would be the full ordination. Then below that, the next highest level would be the novice ordination or ethical restraint. And so those are the those are the monastic level of ethical restraint. But even for people who remain as householders or lay people, there is also the ethical restraint of the householder or upasika. Now, in order to then the practice needs to be life's practice needs to be done on that basis, on that foundation. So then, in order to be able to practice, a spiritual path, you need first of all to know how. So that's why the first thing to do is to study. That's why the next thing that's mentioned is studying.
No, there is maybe there is a saying that somebody who tries to practice without having studied and listened to teachings and so forth is like a person with no arms trying to climb a mountain. It's just you just can't do it. So you won't be able to practice if you haven't learned how to.
No, so some people think, because often it says, the hearing, thinking, and meditating. So hearing just means you just go along when the Lama's teaching, and you get blessings, and that's it. But actually, the whole thing, when the Lama is teaching and you're listening, the whole point is that you're studying. So when you're attending teachings, you have to listen well. It says in the stage of the path teachings, you have to listen with your whole mind. So when your way of attending the teaching is part of your mind is kind of like has gone off somewhere else, and then the other part can't really understand what's going on, then it's really not going to work. Once you've done, or on the basis of having studied, then what you have to do is you have to contemplate or reflect. You have to check until you reach real certainty about in your understanding. No. Because it's Sachi Yin and it's Samomo.
Mari Samong do certain the Sosu Karingo Ko Devatata, Yang the Samo Tang next to candidate to Jego Yorubas. Then gave you tablet and Devanda attended 다사 연구를 봤어.
네네.
자나 하고 오면 누구나 이 양자 트주를 봤어. 다 간리스.
네네. So the process is that you study, and then you have to really think deeply and analyze and check in order to get to this level of certainty about the understanding of what you've learned. And when you like, for example, you read a commentary like this, and there are points that you still don't understand, then you need to ask questions about it.
근데 걔는 답에 돈다닥닥 론독초. 오늘 예수나 되네다 네 엠바로 때 되네 곰주르스를 왔다.
So another way of putting this is you need to like check and analyze and reflect so that you're able to eliminate all kinds of exaggerations and superimposition about the subject. And then once you've reached that certainty by removing those like mistaken minds about the topic, then you go off into an isolated place and you meditate on it.
다 원텔에 생발했다. 두두트는 네 엠바텐 곰비 가빈두다. 도관에 종나다 트사가리 가고 왔을 때네.
No.
도관 종바 있는다. 저바자서 요 말.
Yeah, so it's you have to make sure that you get the clarity and certainty about it before you go off into the mountains to meditate. Because once you've done that, then there's going to be nobody for you to ask, is there? If you have questions, there's nobody to ask.
단도 뒤나 안에 챈달라 마겐 바체스. 저는 제치와 편지지 돈도 저는 처럼 송스. 안에 도섬 검수. 지하들이 송도다.
So in brief, what this is saying is, don't be attached to this life. Practice pure morality for the sake of something beyond just this life, and engage in the activities of studying, reflecting, and meditating.
단데 돈생 현도가 처럼 송야지 도와지야지 삼야지 몸야지 현도가 내가 첸 안달라 맹니게 너들 들어봐이나 다 가리 용거렸어.
So there are four things that have mentioned, aren't there? Morality, then listening or studying, then thirdly reflecting, and fourthly meditating. So what will happen if you were to engage yourself in those without being free of attachment to this life? Or in other words, on the basis of being attached to this life?
Which is $10 mean the carrier said, $10 mean the drubade, chuba manji hola chokes. That $10 mean the dumna that the choose general maris. They cut and two body you kills.
So if what he says is that if you do them for the sake of this life, if you do them with attachment to this life, then it's not even going to be a Dharma practice. It's not going to be any kind of a spiritual practice. So that means it's sort of like it's just excess. So just forget about it. Just don't do it.
That's a nigger to Tonda Tila, your tea Tonda Anne, Chunamdan Regio Maritilan Tubas Jamna, Anne Towanda was Changro your bust.
Don't
make the windows.
No.
There's a bed in Namda Yakuzmajona Paksha, the Yagirabata.
No. Yeah, so if you like engage in your studies with attachment to this life, not having abandoned attachment to this life, then it will be kind of like pointless. Well, there would be you might have got some good imprints, but otherwise it's kind of pointless.
No, 다보니 딱딱 그래 딩긴 깔리카고 우리 생축 차지요 말이서 왔다. 노르마기 양고요스로.
And just because it doesn't work out as quickly as you would like it to, then don't just give up straight away. You have to, work hard at it over a period of time.
천리기 차지 녹위 남각 쪼즈다 쳐만 딱와 공부야 되는 말이서.
The main instruction to be able to give up attachment to this life is reflecting on death. Because if you don't think about death, then you won't think about practicing Dharma. Thinking that you're going to live for a long time, you'll think you need so many things to be. Yeah, that will make you think you need so many things. You need your house. You're going to have all sorts of things inside the house, and there's kind of going to be no end to all of the things that you need, and then your life will be over. So that is the one indispensable thing to think about in order to overcome attachment to this life. Thinking about death and impermanence. Goodness. So the thing is, because of the fact that we're going to die, then the solution is to practice Dharma. That's what we have to do because of the fact that we're going to die. Otherwise, just thinking, I have to die, and then being afraid and worrying about it, that's kind of pointless. There's no point in being afraid of the fact that you're going to die, because that you have to die anyway, so that you're not going to stop yourself from dying. La. You do hear of people getting ill and dying, but dying in a very kind of like a relaxed way, their mind at ease, without being really worried. The whole point of reflecting on death is to persuade ourselves to practice Dharma. What we find in this teaching is the idea that if you're attached to this life, you might look like you're practicing Dharma, but what you're doing won't be Dharma, it won't be a spiritual path. So if you so the first thing that's mentioned here is practicing pure morality. So this is something that's actually very important.
하당 미루된 토야가 유튜브에 들어서 야팀 버려. 만주고 나는 원토 주는 처럼 얘기해 송 버려.
So it mentions that he mentions that keeping morality is like the foundation for being able to be born after this life as a as a human being or as a god.
아니 타르바 루비 템키jen스. 답변에 타르비 람냠슬라니 그네 타르바 동켄스 예나요. 다 긴자 당보트 초촌 냠슬이야 드레스. 니바 띵인전 레스. 선바테는 상통 레스로 히랍질라바.
And even for somebody who wants to achieve liberation, it's like you need the staircase that leads you up to liberation. So the first step or the first rung on the ladder is the practice of morality. Then the second one is concentration. The third one is wisdom.
다때네 동아르 뽕위 녀보지 세디다. 대안에 동아르 뽕바르 제비게다. 녀보. 다
And it's also the antidote which abandons suffering. What this means is if you're going to abandon suffering, abandon all suffering, then the foundation for that is also the practice of morality.
혈압 질라 바르와스. 다텔라 디 둥알 뽕위 트록텔라다. 땡이 질라 바고요스. 디 예텐리 유톡테는 처럼 질라 바고요스. 제드다 처럼 질라 바세야 되는 땡비 잡아 생두가.
Now the actual antidote to which abandons all suffering is wisdom. Then that wisdom needs to be accompanied by concentration, and then the foundation on which those two rest is morality. So that gives you an idea of the sense in which morality is the antidote, and the morality is also described as the root of the teachings. Tempesawa.
온데는데다 배 온돌 하당 미 루된 톱도켄스 이나야. 다 처럼 좀 고요르스. 때는 타르바당 탐신 침비 공판 동켄스나 이게 다 처럼 고요르스.
So a person who wants to assure themselves of a good life after this one as a human being or as a god has to practice morality. Also, somebody who is striving for liberation and or enlightenment, for them morality is also extremely important. So in either case, the practice of morality is indispensable.
Right, metamebaretis, Hinayo, Sendala Hennigan, certain long. And so we could imagine that Tomiris.
Nevertheless, practicing morality just for the sake of this life is not a Dharma practice. And he explains why. He says it's because it is that kind of practice of morality is the root of the eight worldly concerns, eight dharmas or eight worldly concerns.
들어봤어. 대완도라스 둥아르문도 말해봤어. 됐 제대라면. 안에 가는 거 윤노농초다 예봐. 얘나 단 가가 열ten 도그 열세. 많이 와도 문도를 봐서. 이게 다 미게 또라 땅만 너한테 가가 열ten 도그 열세. 메라 땅한테 문도 말해봤어. 조그려 봤어. 다 나이긴스 가는 건데. 맹탐년락 총나. 근데 가가 열세. 맹탐년락도 도그 열세. 다들 담년도 못한데 아니 저 가가 차바이나. 또 뭐가 더 문도 말해봤어. 근데 이제다 천디 그 매직 대화도야다 동아세야 또 저걸 맥는 뒤 캐도 혀바이나. 든 이제 조제도야 게사레도 요리송 있어요.
칠딜레 심베 토네 아니데 수침수나 아니
저런 송야데.
디기아보디 용.
이제 조제도야 게사.
나네. So, as I said, what it says in the text is that if you practice morality based on the attachment to this life, in other words, you practice morality for this life, for the happiness of this life, then it's like the foundation for the 8 worldly dharmas. So, what worldly people are concerned with is these 8. So, in other words, when things are going well, when they're kind of experiencing pleasure and happiness, then they like that. If they're experiencing suffering, they don't like it. And when they get things, material gain and that kind of thing, then they like that. When they don't like it. When they're being praised, they like that. When they're being criticized, they don't like it. Then when they have a good reputation, then they like that. If they have a bad reputation, they don't like it. So those are the 8.
Venerable sienata Pama then book petosol that Gumbino Tava Zoni Yariata can go yourself. The Carlier the Takono Tavas looking at them, say Chipoyung Giri, say yours, Rota.
So in Polarola.
Polatin is a party of attending injury was. Pami Samter.
So, no, for the most part, in Tibet, then the parents would be very happy if the child would join a monastery, because then they think, now they're going to have a happy life. So they say, yeah, let him be a monk. He'll be nice. He'll be happy this life. So then, if the person in question also thinks, I think I would like to become a monk because then I'll have a happy life, and so have that idea in mind, and they take the ethical restraint of a monk based on that. They take the monk's vow with that kind of motivation. Then that means that that's what this is talking about: keeping morality out of attachment to this life. So it's the same whether we talk about keeping morality or listening and studying the teachings, reflecting on their meaning, meditating. If they're done with attachment or out of attachment to this life, then it just doesn't work.
That's what I'm called the Jagdin, then the young Kajik down. Certain Della, Chagdok, Jesse. 야고스 게롱 야고스 요네 양 차가독랑 내려봐 레다레티다 거직직레서 양 락보스다 그러봐 근데 라냠 라보스기나 대네 이렇게 타독지 랑그 처럼 ngo박지에서 랑그 송야 때네 아니 ngokok만 송같이 다 겐로 루비 사모지에서 근데 다 처럼 내야지 베네 겐로 루비게 사모레디오스 근데 쭈미 처럼 효라 효세 세다다부터 유형나 약그래서
대 랭기 수침도 모박 제세리 칼국도
어디 랑크처럼 모박 제세리 지금 인도라 지금 히다 좀 뭐야 보셔 연동도 꼭도 뭐 송해를 받아 모박 세디 미 통사라
알레
어이
알레
어이 히다 좀
미드는데 좀 부시지
어떤도 가보지 안에 전에 꼭도 내 매바치 이러봐 뭐 통사라
so then ngel shochen de karsun
잘세
수dim ngela
해봐지
shochen
네, 다 얘다 좀 송금에나 아니 그 두켜를 켰는데
아니,
내가 얘기를 봤지.
So then he goes on to say, you know what happens, you know, when your morality is for the sake of this life. So then, when you see somebody who's not keeping the vows properly, then it's like you disparage them. You say, "Oh, this person's so bad," and then when you see people who are keeping morality, then you're jealous of them. Then when you with regard to your own morality, then you're kind of like hypocritical in the sense that in front of people you make out that you're so pure, but actually, you know, then when they're not, then when you're by yourself, then you're completely different. Then it says you're creating the seed to be born in the unfortunate realms. And then that verse ends by saying, that kind of morality, just give it up. And then the studying or listening and studying and the reflection, those two.
토삼 제비 강작도 희자르비 롱조jense. 세대다 희지 용데. 랑줄라 druku 요르바스. 토삼 제세도 롭종체.
네네.
아니 다라데는 케바차 그러바다. 아는 케바 용데 jense야 일단 조 요르바스. 희자르비 롱조jense. 마릭 세비 드로메케스타 미히와 망보스 세노 요르바다. 도메나 요르바스. 도메 멤버스바나. then roban dembi lamjujes something to tang sonli ya tori na tarwe lam kande ya trego yona lam kande sinyam selengo tayang yu yoro basta on tende inda choji gui samojes ane to sam lomni ta hirap nejik jisona chogi samoja yoro basta on tende inda to sam se be massive kitchen bodhisattva meta mebare sonduro.
Then he goes on to talk about the importance of these two, the studying and reflection. He says that through studying and reflecting, then you come to know and understand so many things. So you become like a great master, or a great, a very wise master. Then the person who, and then your understanding lightens up the darkness of, or dispels the darkness of ignorance about so many things. Your understanding is like in other words, it's like a lamp that dispels the darkness of unknowing. you also become you come to know what it is that others need, what you need to explain to others in order for them to achieve liberation and enlightenment. And it's also the seed for the Dharmakaya, because through listening and reflecting, you will eventually achieve, the Buddha's truth body, the Dharmakaya. And for this reason, the listening and reflecting is extremely important, and it's really indispensable. So really extraordinarily important. Whereas if you do these two, the listening and reflecting, for the sake of this life, then it's meaningless. So when it says that they would be meaningless if they're done on the basis of attachment to this life, what it means is that it wouldn't be a Dharma practice. Otherwise, of course, when you can study and reflect in order to contemplate in order to with just out of attachment to this life, and you can accomplish many things, but you won't accomplish anything that will help you beyond this life.
No tending to that $10 can be to some the country said, Ngajar to be long churches. That there's a hearing to turn got also here sometime Ngajar Jiam could. Ngajar said that your moons. That laying a basaya could do the or was.
What will happen if you don't, if you listen and reflect without giving up attachment to this life, is it becomes your learning, your knowledge becomes a source of pride, because you just think, oh, I'm really amazing because I know so much, and that pride is one of the destructive thoughts and emotions, and so with that, then you create negative karma.
No, Ngajar Kombola, Yondin Chumujaks. Yondin Sardujiat, Masmoko Kakior Singajak.
So they say that on the on the on the kind of like on the mass kind of pride, then water can't gather. So what that means is that a person with pride, it's very difficult for them to learn and to gain in qualities and knowledge.
That Kiba Yondin Candace Tesona River. Delhi so sweet. Chilopchitney, Skirvangas, Tasani.
No.
And get up tea, nigger. And Yondin within the Mikey was Hibi Tapchi, Dagmars, calling I Zixam nigger than they on Degrevas.
In the monasteries, we consider it like a great opportunity when there's somebody really knowledgeable around, so we go to them to ask questions to get things cleared up. But a person with pride, they wouldn't do that. They think, I already know so much, kind of thing.
Oh, Ngajar do it, Savaki, something kind of Gundi. Ngajar do it long to. To some mela Nivaches, I cannot look you make it to an echo cake, Higumaris, young Jokurvatame.
And then you will you'll tend to despise people who haven't really learned much and haven't reflected much.
다 도삼 용케 로정도보다 때는 연대 약과 용케스는 달라 타고독사다.
And when you come across somebody who really is very learned and who has, reflected a lot and reached that kind of certainty, then you'll be what do you call it, jealous of them.
어쨌든 거기다 나 가서 나리코 개랑 침보라고 차가네 그러와서 일상으로 살수 삼는데 다 샘리 제고사다 망보스게 그러와서.
Yeah, all sorts of things can go wrong. You see somebody who's knows more than you do, has more learned than you, then you think, oh, they're going to become better known, more famous than I am, and then you worry about that. So all sorts of things like that can happen.
코르당 롱초 소르바지 세다. 아니 고첸디 제든 코르고 요리 주노 롱초 고고 요리를 받아. 도서는 소르지야지.
전주기 간간했라. 고등 롱초.
코르당 롱초 소르바지. 고첸들라 제니 디제도는 도상 롬니르 제바로바.
No.
다트 배조 땅산도 보대 어느 코르만 본데야. 다 게투 로마만 보용이야. 아니 진노 롱쇼. 다 도서 어느 만 보용이야. 다 텐데jen스 창동으로 봤어.
You'll end up just like using your knowledge and any kind of like gain, wealth and so forth that you get from that, just to attract like lots of students and so forth, and to gain wealth. So you'll find yourself using your wealth, your knowledge, to attract students and to attract wealth, and that's it.
Then lama then korkasima and yukasi chena then gerakin bocha.
So what happens is that when the more the students the Lama has and the more wealth they have, then the more famous they become. Because a person who kind of like doesn't really have a following and they don't, they're not dressed in splendid clothes, and nobody really pays much attention to them. So that's how things are. And it also acts as a cause for, so it says it's the root of the unfortunate realm. So in other words, through in this way you create the causes to be born in the unfortunate realms. And for this reason, he says, just relinquish, just get rid of the practice of listening and reflecting just for the sake of this life. So of course, for a worldly person, these things are important, and it's from that point of view that it's said that the way of thinking of a Dharma person and the way of thinking of a worldly person, kind of like they don't fit with each other. They're kind of opposite.
Gomba jibik, ontene de choje to some feel like what you feel to that. To Namdak Maruichani, but that Gomba jibik comes up, Yomon Pombi Niembojes. Talam Dubi Savaji, Sanji Dubi Samoji, Gomba la Meta Muda de Songrua.
Then it says all those who have who are meditators, then they have the antidote which abandons the destructive thoughts and the emotions. They have the root which achieves the path to liberation, and they have the seed which accomplishes or which achieves Buddhahood. And for that, and therefore meditation is indispensable. Meditation is indeed extremely important, and it certainly is indispensable. Because through meditating you'll be able to achieve what we call vipassana, or special insight, which realizes the emptiness, the ultimate nature of reality, and through that you'll be able to get rid of all of the destructive thoughts and emotions. And that wisdom, realizing emptiness, is the principal path that leads you to liberation from cyclic existence. And so that understanding, that realization, is something that you reach through meditating. It's not something that you go out and buy somewhere. And then when it says it's you have such a person has the seed which achieves enlightenment, which makes you achieve enlightenment. So it's through meditating that you create that seed to achieve enlightenment. So you can see just how important and how indispensable meditation is. Sutim down. Yeah, so that's the order of things. You have to practice morality, and then you have the listening, reflecting, and meditating.
That tendel make me gomba. And gom yavagata tin driven the water, tendig death of the war. Get up the water, and let me in. That Tommy is what.
Now, on the other hand, if your meditation is just to find happiness in this life, then it's really meaningless.
Embar depi dunzuke. Long time maybe katonke. Tosam kela kurbaje. Gomba genla tragdokje. Chujeji something like hoax.
So then what he says is that if you meditate with your kind of like, focused on this life, so if you meditate just for this life, then so it's like
embar David duzike ne embassy de yona
no
that to young the pan don't get the bed pan much by young yorda embala de ma de merwa kolli kama wajatam de yorwas
ale go wemba because wemba never did young mares
embar David duzike ne embala de ba yena yons
no and it
tila chokyo marta mot young taga young pan don't get that
so what will happen is that even if such a person were to go to an isolated place, they'd be sort of like surrounded by the hustle and bustle of people coming and going, because that's what they would, they would allow that to happen. That's what they would involve themselves in.
Long time maybe 카통지 되네. 다 아다 네 엠발라데 열리카 현다요 말했더니 이제 롱탐 세드다 거리 다 야단 보탐 세게마 해나 다 대랑 가서라서나 아메리게 가르치는도 같은 코리아 가르치는도 전에 야나 가르치는도 다 텐디게 계셔 코랑 같은 뒤소지 내려왔다.
나라네 되기도.
가통지 안 로봇에 되지.
And there will be all sorts of talk about just what's going on in the world, like the kind of things that we used to talk about in Tibet these days. It would be like, oh, what's going on in Korea? What's going on over here? What's this? What's that? What's this person doing? What's that person doing? They would just get. They would get. You'd even in this isolated place, you would get involved in that kind of conversation.
Oh, tendency is that. Then. 토삼 제라 끌어와겠어. 다 코로나 검잡 희보시 요 우비 그 제네스 얘는 롬니에 제게 요러봐. 저도 쳐요 말했어야 한다고 전에 근데 쟁게다 해다 요랬어 봐.
So this person they're in an isolated place, they're doing their meditation there. And they'll be kind of like scornful of those people who are, not doing what they're doing, just studying and reflecting and so on.
No.
No. Just to something into the gom 그랬어. 이니
세계 요 말다. 또 도미에서. 다 곰자고리스 그거.
알레 코디 like it. 데메레스 곰자고리스. Yeah, you'll be saying, they're just studying and reflecting. That's kind of a pointless. You have to meditate.
예. 다 곰바 견라 타도 됐었네. 곰자케 견다 요나 대레용 타도 올라내라.
And then when the other people, other meditators, you'll be jealous of them, and you say, they're just they're useless, they're rubbish, kind of thing. Yeah. So no. So we human beings, once the jealousy is there, then it's like there's nothing right. You think that you're the only one that's got things right, and nobody else has got it right. And so he ends up saying, so this, meditating for the sake of the 8 worldly dharmas, just give it up. And so the advice here is to lay the foundation of a practice of pure morality, and then on that basis engage in learning, reflection and analysis, and then meditation, all without attachment to this life. If you're not able to give up the attachment to this life, then all of those activities will be nothing but the 8 worldly dharmas. And what you're doing won't be a pure practice. And the main method for giving up attachment to this life is thinking about death. So as you will know, there are three main points to think about when you're meditating on death. The fact that one definitely has to die. When you die is uncertain, and so on. No. Because we know that there's nobody who gets born and then never dies. There's nobody so far who didn't once they were born they didn't just go on living in there for indefinitely. They die eventually. And then what's also very important to think about is the fact that the time of our death is absolutely unfixed.
Something like
and that just that is not enough. We need also to think that about what is going to help us after this life is over, and so in other words to reach a decision that in the time we do have left we need to do as many wholesome things as possible in order to create the good imprints. Then the second one is giving up attachment to psychic existence. So what we need to do is to reflect on the suffering nature of psychic existence, and then through this, then to have a renunciation, which wants to be free of that suffering, and then to generate the mind seeking liberation. What it says here is that in order to achieve the state beyond sorrow or nirvana, in other words, in order to achieve liberation, then you have to give up attachment to the three realms of psychic existence. In other words, anybody who wants to achieve liberation, they have to give up attachment to the three realms of psychic existence. This is quite easy to understand, isn't it? Clearly, if you haven't reached the conclusion that the psychic existence is in the nature of suffering, then how would you have the mind wanting to achieve liberation from it? And as for how you're going to give up your attachment to the three realms of psychic existence, it's by thinking of the faults of psychic existence.
When
we talk about the three realms of psychic existence, that means the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. when we talk about the 6 types of like samsaric being, or 6 types of life in psychic existence, we're talking about the hell beings, pretas and animals. Those 3 are referred to as the unfortunate realms. Then there are the 3 which are the fortunate ones, the happy lives or life forms, which are being a human or being a demigod or a god. Suras and asuras, in other words. In fact, wherever you're born in any of those 3 realms, or whichever of those 6 types of sentient being you're born as, your life is characterized by suffering, and you haven't gone beyond suffering.
That's what dungar tala regda to diwayina dungar ji dungar jurbi dungar chaban duje ji dungar chenegus some here yourself.
We speak of 3 types of suffering. There's what we usually call the dunga suffering of suffering, suffering of change, and then pervasive compounded suffering.
Now she did that. That dungar ji dungar set conditions.
As for the first of those 3, the suffering of suffering,
that to you young dungar set there is it, and that's how me more talk yourself. Doge your mars.
The suffering of suffering is what is usually referred to as suffering. It's something like everybody thinks, oh, this is suffering. It's something that nobody wants. Even animals understand this suffering, and they do what they can to stop it. So the like animals, different kinds of wild animals, they would, if they feel cold, then they head for somewhere nice and warm. If they're feeling hot, then they try to find some shade so that they don't have that heat, because they don't like it. And you can see that they go looking for food when they're hungry. They go looking for something to drink when they're thirsty. So, in other words, their experience is suffering. They recognize it's a problem and they try to solve it. In short, then, when we talk about the suffering of suffering, it refers to the suffering feeling, or the suffering, painful, unpleasant sensation, and also the object of that. So it's what it says in the text about this is that the suffering of suffering is the suffering of the unpleasant, unfortunate realms. 3 unfortunate realms.
Nyarwala chadang ke dungar yus yedang la tehin kombi dungar tondo la lehin tumukwa mi korhin kyoba tane chigla chigsabi dungar tende yu sonwa rebas that sama dungar ji dungar yimbar di dungar.
What that means is that in the hell realms they have the suffering of heat and cold, so it refers to those. Then there's the hunger and thirst of the hungry ghosts, or the pretas, Then there's the suffering of animals, is the suffering of being like foolish and not understanding. Then there's the suffering of being used by humans for their flesh and for their skin and so on. And there's the suffering of being eaten by other animals.
Lonely,
So as for the hell realms, this is something that there are scriptures, in other words, teachings of the Buddha that mention them, and so we accept those just on the just out of belief. In the case of animals, this is something that we see ourselves. We see the different ways in which they suffer. The suffering of those beings who've been born in the unfortunate realms is immense and very, very difficult to bear. So think well of that. Sabralangido. No. Ale o kena inde zubutar gitu ah. Zubutar gitu ah.
Oh, tendar ane shada pakwe no tsakar jam kumundu.
Oh, lare. No.
Geshe said, "Geshe kimon pakwa."
No.
Geshe said, "Tiyo la yorba."
No, lare.
Oh, the gushok no tebne tsakar jam gorda.
So I'm not quite sure I got this word, but anyway. I'm going to do the somebody kishak boom. So the thing is, the end of this particular line is talking about, like what happens to you physically when you're really afraid. Like, I don't know, like does your hair stand on end or something? Is that what it is? I don't know. Anyway, it's yeah. So it's kind of like trembling, isn't it? You can see that's what Gela is demonstrating. It's the physical effect that you get when you're really terrified. So it's saying think about that until you're really afraid of it. What it's saying is that if you think really well about the suffering of the unfortunate realms, that's the effect it will have on you. If it actually happened to you, I mean, of course, you would have to put up with it. In other words, you would have to bear it, but still, it's unbearable.
Talk the partners, sent up miss. When we gave up, Mudrubar, Nesson could sonum chejibos. That is the recent. The Nesson could do more than when we tabla and gave up the gory son.
The way in which you abandon birth in those in that form, the unfortunate realms, is by practicing virtue.
No, you did that. So, Luigi gave her some, Naka gave her, yes, Lunaka gave her done. And then you gave us some chinnig, give a little cuse as you wrote. That's what the Yamsone had is on you.
What this means is principally the way to avoid being born in those unfortunate realms is by practicing the so-called 10 virtuous karmic paths, which means the 3 in connection with one's physical body, 4 in connection with the speech, and then 3 in connection with the mind.
어떤 말도 맞겠어. 저는 내송 그 선음 제제 보세. 뒤 독촉 유지 미게 봤음. 나그 미게 봐 예. 예지 미게 봤음. 저는 장 룽아그 미게 줘라 형니를 봐. 저는 그래서 내송 그 선음 제세도다. 선음 제세도 현가 답그 요를 봐. 소말 답 아니 야 동도 제그를 봐. 저는 이제 Ngawang 그때는 손 땀내 있어. 예만 힘하다고 되는 Ngawang도 제거리 있어 이 말이다.
If instead of practicing the 10 virtuous or wholesome karmic paths, you do the opposite of that, which means the 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, 3 of the mind, the 10 non-virtuous karmic paths, then what you're doing is it's like you're sowing the seeds to be born in the unfortunate realms. And as a result of that, that's where you'll be born. So what you may need to do in order not to be born in the unfortunate realms, the main method is abandoning the 10 non-virtuous karmic paths and practicing the 10 virtuous karmic paths. The 10 non-virtues is the path by way of which you will be born in the unfortunate realms. And the 10 virtues are the path which leads you to birth in the fortunate realms of samsara. So this is what we need to understand, that by practicing the 10 non-virtues, then where you'll end up is in the unfortunate realms, suffering realms. And by practicing the 10 virtues, you'll be born in the fortunate realms. No. Dekana dukyan telele ko kawadene under the simdechigires. Dene
telele se duguru se handa uji tila subsuchenchi likada masar de yorsigota likache as masar bachene
legacy as masar
oh tila das jamnata goya chunyamne chegyo mars
no legacy yo mari soroshi se
so samakaji da otawa likada sngong kon de mduge
no
the masar bachi tila jab de mduge
lare
oh ठीक है नाम जोड़ रहा वो क्या है जोड़े तो काहे से तो kan को दो गुरु ची के दिन दुख से आने वो ठीक सब चीज़ दुख से आने वो तेरे से दुआ ठीक बात है
नंबर दिन ते तिंगरेस
या तम खिरा के चें बस मंदु ताते ताते खवा यो ना अने कंटे गोया गेवा जाम से लेके मार से मगे क्या सांग देख रही से
So that kind of person then who has that attachment to the anyways, that kind of person will, wherever they go, then all they're doing is the non-virtues which lead them to birth in the lower realms, and they don't do the virtuous actions which lead them to the happy realms of samsara. And so, to sum up, the suffering of the lower realms is what's that's all the suffering of suffering. Now we human beings, it's not like we don't have the suffering of suffering. We do have the suffering of suffering. Because we're always complaining about all of the bad things that are happening to us, right? So that's all the suffering of suffering. So, I mean, for sure we know that when we're in pain and when we're ill and so on, then that's the suffering of suffering. And then the second one, which is the suffering of change. This is something that we don't recognize as suffering. We think it's very nice. And actually, what it says in the Lama Tsongkhapa's great exposition of the stage of the path, so contaminated happiness, along with its objects, that's what's meant by the suffering of change. So what it says here is the samsana toringendo. So what it says is that the suffering of change is it belongs to the toringendo. chasanla yores gide.
Tori ngendo ndo wa yos. Dal hadang mi lu den top den tori top sigoro tori.
Lare.
De shen nge son de jen dong kan yores.
Lare.
Te du dan hadang mi de chit ko jirwa chen.
Ah ne.
Den nge son je du dan nge son dong yong.
So those sentient beings who at the moment they are high status, literally is what it says. In other words, human beings and gods who are going to be born in the lower realms after they die, they have this suffering of change. So the god Indra, Gyajin Indra, who is like the chief of the gods in the realm called 33. So so after he has died, then he's born as somebody ordinary, and just being ordinary, that's one thing. This also includes the idea that he can be born as in one of the hell realms, or as a predator, or as an animal. And will go to a place where there is a darkness, with no light of the sun or moon. In the scriptures, we have this the way it's put put is, so normally we look up and we say, oh, there's the sun and there's the moon. According to the scriptures, the sun and the moon are gods, and where they live is what we see up in the sky. So they, what we see up in the sky would be called the city of the sun, or the city of the moon. So what it says in those scriptures is that there's this sort of old way of speaking. They talk about the four continents, and so the sun, who is a god, and his where he lives is the city of that sun god. So the light that he sort of radiates is able to dispel all of the darkness in those four continents. And so so this is just like it says in the letter to a friend by Nagarjuna. So what it says here is those gods, the sun and the moon, when they die, then they can be born in a place of absolute darkness, where it's so dark that you wouldn't be able to even see your arm, stretching out and drawing back. You wouldn't even be able to see that. And there is the wheel turning kings, Chakravartin kings. When they die, they can be born as as a lowly servant. This again is something that we believe in, because you find these descriptions and statements in the Buddha's teachings. No. They're not something that we ordinary people could sort of like work out for ourselves. Oh, there are such places and such beings. So that's what it says in the text. This is something that we know about through relying upon scriptures. Ordinary people cannot realize these things. What we can realize, and what we should look at, it says here, is the changes that take place even within the human life, that we can see ourselves. You see, people who early on in their lives they're fabulously rich, and then later on in their life they become very poor. There are lots of stories, in our world of people like that, who they start off very rich and then they become completely destitute. They might be, lose their position, get put into prison, and that kind of thing.
Makashi ang chimbochi, Rawatang, Madi, Saddam Hussein, say underwater, Gaddafi, Rebe, say underwater, tax, Suyor, that in the Mambo that get up to Mambo Johnson. That young somebody tended to survey Tapjo Yam Tabochi, nigga, that Shigoya Johnson was.
Then it mentions, how people can be very powerful and then they lose all of their power. And we've seen that during our lifetime. People like Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi, and maybe there are others who, at a certain point in their lives, they're extremely powerful, and then they end up, dying in a very sorry state.
that tendency you don't mango you do the and also low yomi neck of the tang carriage and the chetu and also jiggy and tingna chicked and a bay benyam taborendo in the west.
So this happens so much, doesn't it? People who at a certain point very powerful, then become very weak. They lose their power. Very rich, then become very poor. People who are, at a certain point, they're very healthy and strong, then they lose all of that strength and their health. And we know even in our own lives, we were. When we were young, we could do anything. We could do all sorts of things, and then like you start getting old or you get ill, and then you're not able to do those things anymore.
The Pamakahila and the Pugamangbochi, Tayudo, Soso do any Neo Yankee make. She would have that in a mango yonkers.
You have cases where like the family, you've got a big family living together, the many children and so on. Then when it comes to die, the mother or the father, they die alone.
Talas was some matchups that indicated your dog say at the best I'm giving Machabaris.
And
you
so
think that's a game, but
la.
You think
No. And then it says, besides that, there are so many things like that which are really beyond belief or inconceivable. So that when we talk about the suffering of change, then we're talking about things which you really can't trust, you really can't rely on.
You think of the knowledge they would say at him, be mutawa, your dog around your tongue about and here at him, but teachers, some goal is him.
It's telling us here what we need to think about is how there are so many things that we think are so nice in psychic existence, but when you have them, then they change. They come to an end. And if you think about that, that kind of like brings your mind down or makes you feel a little bit kind of like sad, and you're able to develop or generate within yourself renunciation.
No, you don't. So yeah, you get into was on there's a tractor. Roger may attended the came Marvas.
No.
Cause I make a robot so young. So Jumbo does it, cause and Tombo that and the Mawo young the Junker of us. The teachers and Marison.
There are, of course, many cases where somebody starts off very poor and they become rich. They're very weak, and then they become very powerful. But if you want to generate renunciation, those aren't the things to think about.
That today Nick of Chungik on the Tangbayena. Then Mutawas, Chudoka again, tar guba se dungar ko dun ro yor se ba.
Because even that, eventually, it ends up with in decline and loss.
제대다. 제대다. 다더네. 근데 지금 말다 타산이 해봐 이나다 가능소네. 칼락사 그래 와서 칼락 힘부. 근데 조네다 사가 요르서봐.
Tasala. Like in the monasteries, then like
monasteries go 말이다.
La.
칼락 조는 가능서 칼락사 그래 왔어.
No.
야 monasteries go 만두고.
No. So it's like we make good food and then we eat the food.
제대다 똑되는 힘배 힘부 요르 왔어.
No. And no. So when you're hungry, then it's it's really delicious, right?
제대. 되네. 다초 매바기 받된 세나 세봐.
Because the mutune sena.
세나 세다.
And so then if you keep eating, keep on and on eating.
저는 오늘 코너티 대체 그런 게 있다고 쓰기는다. 가지 세나한테는 힘으로 내로 로고를 봤다.
Now it should be, if that food is really, like if it's real happiness, then it should be that the more you eat, the more the happiness grows.
걔들 전에 용사 같은 거나 힘을로 해봤더니.
But what would actually happen if you keep on and on eating, you end up just throwing up.
걔들 전에 죽어지 않고 누가서.
And so it all comes out.
서로 대바 세아티 그 치마 동안 줄송했어.
So what we thought of as happiness gradually became a source of suffering. That's the way things change. When we talk about the suffering of change, that's how things change. Then the third suffering, if you think about the compounded suffering, so there's a line that says, the work that we have to do never comes to an end. It's like, so you work the whole day, and then so that your day's work is over, you go to bed, and then you have to start all over again. You have to do it all over again. Like, for example, you get up in the morning, again you have to make yourself breakfast. And then, you have to, after you've had your breakfast, then you have to go out to work again. Then again, you do your day's work and you come back and go to bed and you have to get up and you have to do it all over again, and you have to keep doing that, don't you? And it's like you just don't know how much time has passed. There's a story about this actually, which maybe you've heard before. Maybe I've mentioned it to you before. There's a teacher who had a student. So the teacher gave the student a lot of work to do, and said, when the work's over, then we can go on a picnic. So he was always saying this to the student.
내가 살아서나 때는 빅닉 로그스다.
When we finish the work, then we can go on a picnic.
다 니마치 코니 또한 로고요 임버스로.
So then one day they went off somewhere together.
제대다 도와서 아니 뭐지 힌 로키니 용교서로.
And as they were going along, they saw this corpse being carried somewhere.
근데 게르도 거기 가르에서 찍기 용도 가르에서 뒤임버스.
So then the teacher said, pointed. He says, "What's that? What are they carrying? What are they doing?"
단도서 들으서 내가 자상 살는 빅닉 로고요스.
So then the student said, they finished all the work. Now they're going on a picnic.
어쨌다. 레카탄 빅닉 로스야한테 대임버스로 왔다.
La. So that's what it means when it says on this line, Jawelela Simbame, like the work that has to be done never comes to an end. So he says there are so many people, and they all have their suffering. Because they all have to eat, they all have to wear clothes, and so this makes life difficult for them. No. Oh. And when there are lots of people together, then they can't get on with each other. So when there are lots of people, for sure, then there are problems. And also when there are just a few people, there are also problems. Like when the Shirodu yeah, there's like when you're ill, then there's nobody to take care of you. When you die, then there's nobody to take care of the body. So what this is saying is that in psychic existence, whatever you do and wherever you are, it's all in the nature of suffering. If you're rich and wealthy, then you got suffering, and if you're lacking in wealth and riches, then you have suffering. So when you don't have money and so on, then for sure that's a problem, isn't it? But the people who are rich also have lots of problems. So in the past, how people used to, their livelihood was generally like field work and farming and that kind of thing. And they would have so many problems because they had to take good care of their livestock, and then there would be the wild animals that would come and take them, so they had to defend them from those, and then people would come and steal them, and so they always had to be on guard against that.
So,
and even if you had a lot of land, a lot of fields, then you would have lots of trouble.
제주다 남기게 자주 신체다 다렌도 그러와. 신가들 노지 용 그러와서.
Namke.
자당 주요.
Like so, your enemy when you had fields was the birds that would come along and take the seeds and stuff. And that kind of problem and other problems.
다다 나 얘기다. 지금 배현하고 용케스기 나는 지금 야로기 제로기 센다 남게 망보스 용거리 야르타디 제요 말다 둥을 혔다 그랬어요.
And when you've got money, then people come around asking to borrow it, so that's difficult. And then if you lend it to them, then there's a big problem because they don't bring it back again, they don't pay it back again.
제트다 강타다 노축장 누가 똑장 누 성격도 그러하다.
So as it says, to repeat, if you're wealthy, it's a problem. If you have no wealth, it's a problem. There's suffering.
너와다 힘카 담케던디 축속 소중 신경 두수 동아다 희사 말이던데 와마. 거기서 말이지. 근데 같이 하면 누가?
No. 통이면 누가? 통이면 누가?
거기 힘카 내리 같이 하면 누구세다. 다 리공 주야 된지리로 티가나.
No. So maybe there's not these days. There's not so much. You don't see so much of the suffering of field work and so on. But there's all sorts of suffering of people who have to earn their livelihood through work by working in offices and so on. So anyway, maybe that's enough.
제디다 뭐제 용도로 즉 다득다고 스키 내려와다. 또 제고 오러봐서 안에 상이사야 그 다득다보다 대랑이 즉 삼로 땅고 지 그래봐서. 근데 총살이게나.
No. So even like on the at least it's like today we have to think about how we're going to get everything that we need for tomorrow.
나 얘기했다. 지금 이말을 가르치고 어느 론달라 지금 자기로 오스팅 다딩다스기다. 근데 너 샤다고 지네 직다 자기로 오스팅 근데 도란 로고요 봤어.
So that's how what happens in our lives. This year we've got to make plans for next year to make sure that things are okay for next year. So it's like you have to spend your whole time thinking. So I'm going to have to do this, and then after that I'll have to do that. Then after that I have to do this, and so on. And then at the end of that you have to die. And even after you've died, then the getting things ready, making preparations still hasn't come to an end. Yeah, so what it says in here is like you spend your whole life getting ready and making preparations, and then at the end of that you have to die. And once you've died, then also making preparations still hasn't come to an end. And then you have to make preparations for the next life. Because even in our next life it will be the same. You want to be happy, you don't want to suffer, so whatever form of life it is, you're going to have to do everything you can to make sure you don't suffer and that you'll be happy. And then it says at the end of this section, So basically, wherever you're born in cyclic existence, you have that. It's like a aggregates or heap of suffering.
That Chachin Hemba Chingazu Telele, Kaduna, Tilandas Javde, or Stigmatar Vachin. Kovasaya comes Kovasaya, Dungarji
Rela.
Tella Chachin Hemba Chachin Chegetazo, Kaduna Chig Matar Vache, Tila Javne, then Deors.
So anybody who is attached to psychic existence, then they're always caught up in because of the tradichela, the trapchela, the samdane, the yores. Yeah. So what it says is that anybody who is attached to the cyclic existence, their work is never finished. There's always something to do. If you're attached to the three realms of psychic existence, then what you're attached to is actually in the nature of suffering. And it's though it's in the nature of suffering, we have to understand that it's in the nature of suffering. And what this means is we need to reflect on along the lines of the advice you find in the teaching on the Four Noble Truths, where the Buddha said suffering is to be known. So what that means is that which is suffering, you need to understand that it's suffering. And when you understand that it's in the nature of suffering, then you're not going to want that anymore, and you're going to want to be free of it. And so what we need to do is get rid of this of our attachment to psychic existence. So that's the second one then, abandoning attachment to the three realms of psychic existence. If you're free of that kind of attachment, then you'll be able to achieve liberation. Because if you're free of that attachment, then you'll want to be free of the psychic existence. You're going to want to achieve liberation, and you'll put you'll apply yourself to achieving liberation, and so in that way you'll achieve liberation. And when you achieve nirvana, the liberation from psychic existence, then you'll experience the happiness of liberation. So that's the because the koala shempatang ni karares.
Sendala Hemba.
Setila ane
Ane Kasum Korwala Hemba. Oted Tenita Tarbi Tab. Ane Tanda just Takajan Senka and Yamla Hadwigata, Gurdna.
And so the text mentions. So this is like the song of the way in which you can free yourself from attachment to this life and attachment to the three realms of samsara. Then the third attachment is attachment to your own welfare.
Tata country Travitab Kanichi or City. Dakchigu Tarbi Penju Maze. Comes from some Pama.
And so what it says is
Tarbi Penju Maze.
Oh yeah. So it says there's no benefit in your just oneself achieving liberation because all the sentient beings of the three realms are one's mothers and fathers. So this is clear, I think. There's no great, there's not that much benefit just in yourself achieving liberation because all of the sentient beings of the three realms are one's kind mothers and fathers. To think of just one's own happiness, to just wanting that, and like neglecting the happiness of all the mother and father sentient beings, or to neglect this mother and father sentient beings who are undergoing such suffering is really meaningless.
Now to today can the Tama Dungali darkness be that Tariba Yana Sangi Salan Gotuba, that any word Chego something and the same Jay
the kind of attitude that we're being encouraged to develop is the one which thinks that all of the sentient beings of the three realms are my kind mothers and fathers, and it would be wrong to just think of my own happiness when they are suffering so much. So rather than that, in order to liberate them all from their happiness and to bring them to liberation and enlightenment, I have to strive for that, and strive for enlightenment in order to be able to achieve that, to do that. And so what we need to do is to rid ourselves of the concern for just one's own happiness and instead focus on the welfare of others. So it expresses the prayer that all of the suffering of the sentient beings of the three realms ripen on me, may may they have all of my merit, and through this merit, through the merit of this practice, through the blessing of this merit, may all sentient beings achieve full awakening.
No, the rank don't like him, but the part Pangni, Yendo like Henjik Chow. The Lord Jago was.
What we need to do then is to stop thinking just of ourselves and our own welfare, and instead think just of the welfare of others.
The Jivachana, Tomar and Rang Jivan Zumbik, John Samyatang, Ye Jivan Zumbik, and Zombik Yonde, Sambi Tonus, then Terras, and Rang Jivan Tangarina Rang Jivar Zone, Randon to what you was. Teach of Latin, Ye Jivar Zone, Yendon to what do you ask, Zogo yourself. That the Dagenji Slav reserve.
If we go into this more extensively, then it would mean thinking about all of the drawbacks of the selfish mind that cares only for oneself and neglects others, and then reflecting on the wonderful qualities and benefits of caring for others, cherishing others, and then on that basis switching those two attitudes, instead of cherishing oneself and neglecting others, to cherish others. So this is referred to as exchanging self and others. So then what we would do is meditate on taking and giving. So it says, may the suffering of the sentient beings of the three realms ripen on me. So this is referring to the meditation on taking. What you do is you think about the suffering of the sentient beings of the three realms, and you think how unbearable that is. So in other words, you meditate on compassion for them, and then on the basis of that compassion, the mind that wants to take the suffering of others, you imagine taking all of that suffering on yourself. And when it says may the sentient beings have my merit, that's the meditation on giving. What you do here is you think about how you think about the sentient beings of the three realms, and think about how they are like bereft of or completely lacking in happiness, and then you generate a very powerful loving kindness towards them, wanting them to be happy, and then you imagine giving all of your happiness and the merit which is the cause of that happiness to the sentient beings.
다 소담 대이 견납지 섬견담지 상지 효과시 대대는 동네 공비기 소남 딘털라 되는데 섬견담지다 아 뉴트 상지 유공바도 버리 효과지 뭐가 제바이 말이죠.
And then you dedicate the merit of those meditations to all sentient beings achieving Buddhahood.
Dagdong le himba sa ti partornes ti chab de yen ki bar zone en yen ji to zobor dubya dang on samya tada go yang sur tin sa jo.
This is talking about training one's mind in giving up the thought, the attachment to one's own welfare, and instead cultivating the mind which cherishes the others and cares more for their welfare.
That da himba yeba te terwas. Zimba chona dawa mas. Dagden zimba sia terwas.
Then there's the fourth one, what it says here, if grasping arises, it is not the view. So this is talking about, when it says grasping, it's talking about the grasping it, as self-existent, grasping at self-existence.
That the Dagden zimba sia the mapona dungali tarmatubri sanji ji kombanyo tobmetubri.
If you don't give that grasping up, then you won't achieve liberation, and neither will you achieve enlightenment. The method to give that up is meditating on emptiness. The text says, whatever one is doing, whatever one is doing, one should constantly meditate on emptiness. And if you have the grasping, then you won't be liberated. Yeah, so if you grasp at inherent existence from its own side, then you won't be able to achieve liberation. In fact, everything which exists is a dependent arising in the sense of being merely posited by names and terms. There's nothing at all which exists in and of itself, in other words, independent of anything else. That's so what we, as we usually say, all phenomena. Better to put it this way: there's nothing which exists from its own side. But that doesn't mean to say that they don't exist at all. When we talk about the middle way, what it refers to is not existing from its own side, but also not being yeah, so not existing from its own side, but also not being non-existent. If you grasp at things, grasp at existence, then there will be no liberation. And what that means is until you're able to abandon grasping at things existing from their own side, independently, then you won't achieve liberation. Though things don't exist from their own side, that doesn't mean to say that they don't exist at all. They do exist. How they exist is as mere names and labels, or mere labels. And so within that context of not existing from their own side and still existing as mere names and designations, still the whole setup of cause and effect, and like agent and action and so on, they all still work just fine. And if you think that the fact that they don't exist from their own side entails that they don't exist at all, then that's called nihilism. And so you wouldn't accept, the karmic causes and their results, and you would end up going to the being born in the unfortunate realms. Now, it wouldn't be possible to have one mind thinking things exist from their own side and they don't exist at all. So it's the instruction is to meditate on the middle way, free of the two extremes of eternalism and nihilism, by understanding that everything is lacking in any kind of existence from its own side, but also isn't totally non-existent. So then it says, so all phenomena are the objects of experience of the mind. To use the language of the Prasangikas, how they would express it, everything is merely labeled, merely posited from the side of the mind. How the Chitta Mantras would put it is everything is in the nature of the mind. There are certain so the Dangjem is the Kasa the Samkya. There are certain like outer philosophical systems, such as the Samkhyas, who believe that everything is, the whole world is an is an emanation of something they call, that's variously translated, but let's say the primal substance.
That Antuk was here to Chetak was and Bangbuchigan, La Antuk Chemboka. There is a Chona, some Rotambala, then and the Chong race, second you.
There are some, such as the followers of Ishvara, who say that everything happens because the god Ishvara thought may it happen. So they think that it's all like an emanation of the Ishvara's mind. So there are various ideas such as Ishvara made it all, or Brahma made it all, and so forth. Jongjil deni sem sedi. No. So then you have the Yangpemba, the Charvakas. So their idea is that the mind is like kind of like arises out of, or is an emanation of the elements.
The Lutin Jongilet, Thames the other sensory, Angbots on Namki Paglacha, Chicken the Chevachiman Roya Maris, we've got you chain over Sigo Saravata.
Zubukaran and it Jongiletim.
The Luda, the Messaka Teller in Rova, Jongi don't come over. Angbots on Namki Paglacha says. Chevachima says the Jerry Pigeon Marsigo Sarava.
And they say that the body, it's when you die, then the body itself, there's just nothing remaining but dust or ashes, and then if then the faculties, like they go back into the elements, and there's no like passage to a future life. There's no future life. In brief, then, to summarize, they say that the whole world comes out of the four elements. Chugin Simgi, Chuyin, Chadang Wangju, Lasopa, Jungji, Konzo Yanda Jungshi.
Yongit young man by the Watan Jongi. No chicken to Tanto Locre, Sigurd or Chirwada. Or Tanto Mansources that the Mayan Bass. That's what one similar than the young yours. That you want the Japan into what the main dog. The dog part, Dakpa. That's I'm going to the Yobas.
And so what the text says is that it's not, it isn't, things aren't as they believe, the Charvakas and the followers of Ishvara and so on, those who say that everything arises from the four elements. It's not like that. Rather, everything is merely labeled by the mind. And the instruction is to place one's mind in meditation on that absence of things existing from their own side, not merely labeled by the mind.
nangwa tardu madruba yuma nangiri so.
And then everything which we see with our eyes, everything which we hear with our ears, and so forth, is like an illusion and doesn't exist in the way that it appears. What that means is that when the way things appear to us is as if they existed from their own side, but actually they don't exist from their own side at all. So in this way, they're just like illusions. And but still, it doesn't mean that they don't exist at all. Rather, they do exist, and how they exist is their dependent arisings. Nelu jopar mishiki jodengala. Then the way of being, the ultimate way of being is cannot be expressed. There's mishiki. So not knowing how to express that, how to actually express it verbally, one should place one's mind within that like indescribability. So the conceptual mind cannot really grasp, and the words cannot describe exactly as that ultimate nature is experienced during by the mind which realizes it directly.
Samju traveling on like you said with that. Shunam yen look when you say that getting on Madrubal, Louis Condo young, my yen Masonwa. Then tell out some psychic to the Yambari Yok, so as he said.
So the final advice is to put your mind into meditation in equipoise on that ineffable object without, in other words, emptiness, without thinking this and that, and without thinking. Kaima sambandang. Yeah, so basically it means that to place one's mind in meditation without thinking of other things, just in that on that object.
That came by that day, take it down, Teresa. Zumba said that Doctor Zumba won't have to team, but don't want you go at it.
So this is the way in which you meditate on emptiness.
That came by here by Gaby gave a day, so I'm Jin Robert Dumbo Maluvas, Sanji Salan Copariko.
And then he finishes by saying, through the virtue of explaining the parting from the four attachments, may the seven types of migratory being reach the state of Buddhahood. So he's saying, may I be able, through the merit of composing this commentary on the four, parting from the four attachments, may I be able to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment.
Dan roba dum se ati da roma na le ban jikne dum bo hyap jin den te sa. De zang dan de ne man ro. Dang yi si wo chen ma song se. Da nya ba yi da tun ro som chi ro. Da ne do bi ge mo dang la ni chi. Je na ga ro ba se.
No.
Ti ding de ne zum ham da sung me che na. Dun ro ba se.
No.
Pa je ten de sin sa yo sam tu.
When it says the 7 types of migratory being, I'm pretty sure that what that means is you have the 3 unfortunate realms. So in other words, hell, preta, animal. Then you've got the humans and the gods of the desire realm. So that would make 5, and then the gods of the form realm and the gods of the formless realm, which is another 2, making 7. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So you can see that this parting from the 4 attachments is just the same as Jerem Lama Tsongkhapa's 3 principal aspects of the path. Because the parting from attachment to this life and attachment to the 3 realms of psychic existence, they would be, you meditate on those mainly in order to develop renunciation. And the teaching on parting from attachment to one's own welfare, that's all about how to generate a bodhicitta, the awakening mind. And then the last one, which is, Shibarala. So in other words, that 3rd one is about how to generate bodhicitta. So then the 4th one, if there is grasping, then there's no view. So this is talking about the view, the realization of emptiness. So that's the same as, in other words, it's all about how to generate the correct view, which is the 3rd of the 3 principal aspects. So the way it's expressed is, not quite the same, but what these 4 are about is renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view, realizing emptiness. So those 3 are called the 3 principal aspects of the path, because in order to achieve Buddhahood, principally what you need is those 3. So it does actually explain in quite a bit of detail how to practice this instruction of parting from the 4 attachments. It teaches very clearly how it is that the way that you practice would not be Dharma, and how it is that you should practice that would be Dharma. So if you're able to do exactly like that, then of course that would be wonderful. That would be really the best. One shouldn't allow oneself to be discouraged and think, oh, this is this is too difficult. I'm just not going to be able to do that, and you just end up not doing it at all. It's just like we say, even if you don't have any teeth, there is still a way of eating. You getting the food in your mouth and eating it. So even if what you're able to do is only like a reflection of the true practice, still you have to be like full of courage and do what you can. Furthermore, if we were to talk more about this, we'd find that it includes the entire stages of the path teachings. Okay, maybe one or two questions and then we'll stop. Just right. Yeah.
Question. I don't know if this is a good question or not, but if we practice with the intent of liberation for ourselves and others, isn't that still attachment?
If we practice in order to achieve liberation and enlightenment for the sake of others, isn't that still attachment? 타바단 타지기에 토베지도 냐면 전에 디안 셴바 말레스. 그래서
다 기타 셴바스야 들으세. 로텔라다 똑바다 동면이 요르서.
Well, when we talk about grasping, or as it says here, or attachment, okay, to understand what that is, first of all, we need to make a distinction between two types of mind, one which is a conceptual mind and one which is a non-conceptual mind. Non-conceptual minds would be like, for example, the eye consciousness and the ear consciousness. Things simply appear to those types of consciousness. They don't actually think, oh, such and such exists from its own side. So that's non-conceptual. So then it's like that's passed on to the mental consciousness, which is able to think, such and such about the object. Like this is that. So that's the conceptual grasping, or grasping. Let's say. In fact, all conceptual minds are grasping minds in some way or other. Actually, there are good conceptual minds, and there are also bad conceptual minds.
the tomata two watches, then some second was. That to do any some yet to talk matters against some cameras.
In the beginning, like when we knew then to the practice, then our understanding of emptiness would be a conceptual mind. So in that process of the listening, reflecting and meditating, so when you're listening and when you're reflecting or contemplating, then your understanding would be a conceptual one. What that means is that even if you're thinking it doesn't exist from its own side, it's just empty, then it'd still be a conceptual mind. Of course, you could also think it's truly existent, and that would be a conceptual mind. Another way of putting it is that there are two types of conceptual mind. There are conceptual minds which are factually concordant, and others which are factually discordant. They don't accord with the facts. So what we need to do is habituate ourselves or meditate on the factually concordant minds, and then through that gradually the discordant ones will be removed. And so when we talk about in this context grasping at this or that, or attachment to this or that, that would be a conceptual mind. So like grasping at this life would be a conceptual mind, thinking it's pointless to just think about this life. I need to think about my future lives. That would also be a conceptual mind. But there would be a big difference in the results that follow from those two types of mind. When you have the attachment or grasping at this life, then whatever you do is pretty well certain to lead to you being born in the lower realms. And being attached to the happiness of the future lives, future lives, that would, what you do on that basis would be virtuous. So when the texts talk about the three levels of practitioner who have three sort of like three capacities in their practice. So there's the one which is called the least practitioner, or the inferior practitioner. That one is more interested in their future life than just this life. Yeah, sorry. More precisely, what Geshe said was the inferior practitioner, the least practitioner, is they practice on the basis of being attracted to the happiness or attached to the happiness of psychic existence. La. No. And so for that person, grasping at this life would be something that they would want to give up. So for that person, giving up attachment to this life and going for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, being careful about their karma in order to have a good future life, that would be, that would be their practice. That would be a virtuous practice, wholesome practice.
That is a making no dunas. And
to put it in a nutshell, until you've realized emptiness directly, in other words, until you've reached what they call an Arya path, like the path of seeing, until then, all of your practices are going to be conceptual. Particularly, right up until you achieve enlightenment, your bodhicitta would be a conceptual mind.
It is.
So the thing is, whether we translate this word as grasping or as attachment or as a fondness for something, adherence to, anyway, we're talking about a conceptual mind. They're all conceptual minds. The way that it's a conceptual mind is that it's a mind that is thinking, it's like this is how it is. So that's the way in which a mind would be a conceptual mind, or a grasping or a mind of attachment.
Yeah, that's the
So I think that will do then. We can stop there.
Yeah.
Jere Zewan Tenzin Gyatsoyi Shape Site Bad Tengyuru Ji Tutsu Chanshin Changun Gyawe Ten Singyon Bawe Kunzu Topozi Chozun Kuwe Lemon Tutropa Tazo Duji Gundu Shaptin Shu Ngagi Wanchu Nyembe Tapa Chen Songa Baye Rinlu Timame Singyon Bella Tate Gewe Shen Kama Dambe Jabla Sawade Gungyo Shape Rewan Taten Chin Tinle Sipe Tume Tasewe Taso Duje Loye Muzene Ngele Tebu Nyudu Mingyuru Ji.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.